What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Foot and Fist Sports Network. I'm Diego, and I'm here to talk about the upcoming Premier League games from this weekend. And it's going to be a great weekend once again. There's some really good games. In particular, Liverpool versus Arsenal should be a barn burner. So many goals with so many shit defenders in those teams. It should be a really interesting one. Let's go ahead and start off with Bournemouth versus Manchester City. And I do expect this game to be a beatdown. I don't mean like a 5-0 win, but I do expect City to go out there and score 2 goals and beat them 2 or 3-0. I do think it's going to be one of those games where Bournemouth are forced to really play a defensive game. And we all know that Eddie Howe, when he came into the Premier League, he loved to play offensively, and that cost him quite a few points. Against Manchester City, I expect him to try to play a bit more defensively, but does his team really have the defensive capabilities to withstand 90 minutes against Manchester City? I personally don't think so. I do hope they do. I do hope they are able to do it, but I don't think they're going to be able to. I think Manchester City are going to have too much attacking power, and week after week, as their players gel more together and as they get better playing with each other, it's just going to get worse and worse for some of the smaller teams. And Bournemouth, they do have a lot of attacking capabilities, but I don't think they have enough defensive abilities to defend themselves against City for 90 minutes. It's going to be a tough game for them. At home, they could possibly have the motivation because of the fans, and maybe the fans will carry them to do something that's pretty much impossible, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Maybe they'll score one of their own, but I think the City are just going to be too strong for them, and they will get the win. Next up, we have Newcastle versus West Ham. And I mean, Newcastle are already looking like early favorites to be in a massive relegation battle. I mean, they are struggling badly, having lost 1-0 to Huddersfield last weekend. And yes, they lost 2-0 to Tottenham, but like I've said in some of my previous videos, that isn't a really bad loss. It's losing to Huddersfield. That really shows just what kind of a situation that team is in. They can't afford to be losing against teams that are like even 10th to 15th, let alone against teams that are probably going to be battling for relegation in their own right, like alongside Newcastle. They cannot afford that, and if they continue to do that, they are going to get relegated. Against West Ham, they're going to be coming up against a team that's probably capable of reaching the top 10. So they're going to be playing against players like Lanzini, Michael Antonio, Chicharito Hernandez, who are much better than anybody that Huddersfield have. Yes, Huddersfield played really good football, and yes, they have some players that are really good at just improvising and just playing their game, but they aren't anywhere near what West Ham have in terms of talent. If Newcastle are somehow able to get a result here, that will be massive for them moving forward, but I just don't see it happening. They're going to lose 2-1. I do think they will finally get the first goal of the season, but it's not going to be enough. West Ham, they have a lot more attacking power. They just overall are a better team. Maybe if Slaven Bilic struggles to find a way to break down Newcastle, which pretty much everybody is able to break down Newcastle, then Newcastle have a chance, but West Ham is going to be too strong. Next up, we have Huddersfield versus Southampton, and Huddersfield, who have been on an amazing run for a newly promoted team, already with 6 points, which is, I think they're the only team in the league to have 6 points apart from Manchester United. It really shows what kind of a start of the season they're having, surprising everybody. But eventually, all good things come to an end. And Southampton are a team that's more than capable of putting that to an end. They have really good players, and last weekend they had a really good win against West Ham, a 3-2 win against a team that is really tough. And obviously, West Ham have their defensive problems, but still, you have to score 2 goals. It's not something that's automatic. You have to be able to score 2 goals. And they had a really good game against West Ham. I expect them to continue that run and start building up, especially because Huddersfield, as well as they've been performing so far, they don't have the talent that West Ham have. So I expect Southampton to be even better than they were against West Ham, get a win. I'm going with a 2-1 win. It's away from home, so Southampton do struggle a little bit more away from home, but I think they have the right players. I think they have enough quality to get a 2-1 win away from home against a team like Huddersfield. Next up, we have Watford versus Brighton. And for Brighton, after a couple of weeks against really tough opposition, it's time for them to go against a weaker team. And hopefully for them, they will be able to get a result, but I don't see it happening because Watford are a pretty decent team. They had a really good game against Liverpool in the first one. Yes, they have defensive frailties, but offensively they show that they can really punish you if you make a lot of mistakes. So I think that Brighton are going to make some mistakes, and I don't expect them to be like losing 2-3-0 a lot of games this season because of how well they did against Manchester City in that opening day. They only lost 2-0, and they only conceded the first one after like 60 minutes or 55 minutes. So they did a really good job there, and they actually created their own chances. So I think against Watford, they could hold their own. Are they going to be able to get a result? I just don't think so. I don't think so, unfortunately. I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Watford. A close game, but it's going to be one that Brighton simply aren't going to win. Next up, we have Crystal Palace versus Swansea, which is going to be a really important game for both teams because neither team has been on a run. Neither team has really gotten a result, so they need to get a result to get themselves pushing forward. Crystal Palace start off the season awfully, losing 3-0 to Huddersfield, but against Liverpool, they sort of redeemed themselves, having a really good game, only losing 1-0, which is definitely a good thing to do if you only concede one goal against a Liverpool team with that much attacking power. So that is good for them, but right now they need to get some points. They need to get some points, and against Swansea, they have the opportunity to do that. Swansea, they start off the season with a loss, but they also had a really good game against United in that second game. Yes, they lost 4-0, but it doesn't really tell the whole story. They had a really good game up until the 75th, 80th minute. They were really in the game. It looked like they were possibly going to get themselves a draw. Then they collapsed. United brought in Anthony Martial, and that just really changed the game. It's got a few quick goals, and from there it was just looking bad for Swansea. But they really did have a pretty good game, and if they can replicate that against a team like Crystal Palace, then they are going to be able to get a point, and I do think that's what's going to happen. The two teams, neither one's really doing well right now, and neither one of them is really excelling. So I think they're going to really balance themselves out. They're going to be pretty much evenly matched, and it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Next up, we have Manchester United versus Leicester City, and this one's going to be a barn burner as well because United have been really firing on all cylinders so far this season, and Leicester City have been scoring a lot of goals. So it's going to be goals galore. And the big difference is Leicester City concede a lot of goals. We saw it against Arsenal. They have some big defensive weaknesses, and United so far have seen pretty damn good in defense. So is Leicester going to be able to break them down? I think they will, but only one time. I think Jamie Vardy will get a goal. It's going to be a counter-attacking goal because we do have some kind of lapses every once in a while. We have some unreliabilities in defense every once in a while. I think that Leicester will get that one goal, but we will get the win. We will get the win. We have too much power right now. We have too much power, especially against a team who has some defensive weaknesses. We're going to go out there. We're going to get a few goals. I'm predicting 3-1 win for United, and I think it's going to be one hell of a game. Really fun. United are going to continue the streak, continue to be scoring a lot of goals, and it's going to be huge to be able to continue to put pressure on the title rivals to keep on getting results, to be able to keep up with us if we can continue to start slamming down wins and keep on getting ourselves some distance between us and our rivals, especially because Liverpool, Arsenal playing. So one of those teams, if not two, are going to drop points. So those teams are going to have some more pressure on them, which they already have a lot of pressure based on the results they've already had this season. So it's going to keep on getting better and better. What happens with Chelsea if they play against Everton? That's going to be a whole lot. If we continue to win, other teams will feel the pressure, and that's going to be really good for us. Next up, we have Chelsea versus Everton, and this has the potential to be a really good game. Everton so far this season are looking tremendous. They beat Stoke 1-0. They drew against Manchester City at the Etihad 1-1 with a Wayne Rooney goal. Wayne Rooney already has 2 goals this season. He's looking like the old Wayne Rooney. He's so excited, so motivated, so hungry. He's really driven right now, and that's dangerous for any team, regardless of how old he is and how in the recent years he hasn't really looked like the old Wayne Rooney. But right now, he's absolutely looking like a dominant player who's going to get a lot of goals this season. And I'm hoping he'll be able to do the same against Chelsea. What do I expect out of this game? Well, I expect Chelsea to be a bit more offensive than they were. Not offensive, but a bit more of a possession game than they were in that game against Tottenham. Because Tottenham absolutely controlled the game, and they were unlucky to concede 2 dumb goals, really. It was a dumb free kick that gave Marcos Alonso his first goal, and then it was just bad defending. They absolutely shut down and allowed Marcos Alonso to be just in the box all by himself. And Marcos Alonso has great shooting, so that was always going to be a dangerous thing, and he ended up punishing him. Tottenham blew it there. Chelsea deserved to win, sort of, because they took their chances, but they didn't really deserve it because Tottenham were absolutely the better team. Is Chelsea going to have that same problem against Everton? Everton have a lot of counterattacking themselves, and they have a lot of power in their team. They are a very good team, and I think they are going to create a lot of problems for Chelsea because defensively, they are a shambles. They are a shambles, and they have a lot of weaknesses, and they do let in a lot of goals. And I think Gary Cahill is still going to be out because it was a direct red his, so he will be out for another game or 2. Then there's also the fact that I think Fabregas, having gotten 2 yellow cards, he might be back now. But still, they have some weaknesses. I don't think Hazard is back either. So there's going to be a lot of questions coming in here that Everton are going to force them to answer. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, fun game, and really interesting for the title race. Next up, we have West Brom versus Stoke City, and this is going to be probably a bore fest. Probably. I say probably just because Jesse Rodriguez, he really showed in that game against Arsenal, he can really change things and make things really interesting. If he does that, if he shines, it could have the potential to be a fun game. But West Brom aren't going to allow him to do that. They aren't going to allow him any freedom like Arsenal did. They're just going to hit him every time he gets any type of possession, any type of dangerous positions. They're going to foul the shit out of him. They're going to try to hurt him. And that's exactly what Tony Pulis does. And that's why it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It's going to be a boring game. But it's going to be just a classic Stoke versus West Brom game. Exactly what you would expect from them. Very physical. Very much an old-style English football match. And it's going to be very, very funny to see if anybody can get injured. Can Hesse survive this? Because we've seen him play in La Liga. We saw him last week against Arsenal. But Arsenal aren't a physically tough team. They're a team that really, really lets themselves get dominated physically. What's he going to be able to do against a team like West Brom, who's going to beat the shit out of them? Is he going to outshine them? Is his quality on the ball going to outshine the beatings he's going to take? That's going to be the big question there. If he does, then I think they will possibly get the win. But I'm going to go ahead with the safe prediction, go with a 1-1 draw. Next up, it's time to talk about the really, really big game for this weekend. That's Liverpool versus Arsenal, by far the biggest game of the weekend. And we're going to be seeing a ton of goals in this one because both teams are very good attacking and awful defending. I mean, I don't understand what Wenger's doing. Why the hell is he playing left backs at center back instead of playing Mertesacker? He just has a cut in his head. It's not like he's dealing with head trauma or he's dealing with a bad injury to his leg or something like that, where he has a fucking cut. He has no reason to not be playing. He was on the bench in the last game, which means he was completely fit to be able to play. If he's on the bench, that means he can play. So why not start him? I mean, what the hell is going on with Wenger? I don't understand. And against a team like against Liverpool, that is going to be a big problem because they have so much attacking threat. They have such fast wingers, and they have so many good attacking players. Arsenal are going to have a really hard time dealing with that, just like Liverpool are going to have a hard time dealing with Ozil, Alexis Sanchez if he plays, probably not, with players like Lacazette. There's just a lot of really, really good players in Arsenal's side as well, so it's going to be interesting to see which team concedes less goals, because realistically that's going to be the big thing. Whatever team concedes less goals is going to win. I do think that Liverpool, being at Anfield, are going to have the advantage because it's always difficult to play at Anfield, and Arsenal don't have the best away record, so Anfield is going to be the big factor here. Liverpool are going to win 3-2. It's going to be one hell of a game. Definitely fun, whether you're a neutral, whether you're a Liverpool fan, Arsenal fan, or a rival when it comes to the title race. It's going to be fun to watch and see just exactly which team collapses, because either way, whenever both of those teams collapse, it's hilarious to see, and there's going to be plenty of goals, so definitely plenty to enjoy in that game. Last, we have Tottenham versus Burnley, which is probably going to be the most one-sided beatdown of the weekend, because Burnley, yes, they had that great 3-2 win over Chelsea, but that was a game where Chelsea had 9 men on the pitch. Realistically, they scored the 2 goals when they had 10 men, then Fabregas got sent off, and then they scored the third, and then Chelsea hit a comeback and made it 3-2, but Burnley simply aren't going to be able to carry that type of performance all season long. And they showed last weekend when they lost. And I think that Tottenham are going to run rings around them. Yes, they lost to Chelsea. They lost 2-1, and Burnley beat Chelsea. So you could possibly do some math there, like, okay, but Burnley's a better team against that certain team. No, that's not the case. It's just not the case. Burnley got really lucky considering the circumstances against Chelsea, and because before they got red carded, before Gary Cahill made that stupid challenge, they had like 25% possession. So realistically, they got bailed out by Gary Cahill and then Fabregas later on. But, I mean, Burnley aren't a bad team. Tottenham are just way too good. Tottenham lost 2-1 to Chelsea, but like I said, they just made a couple of defensive mistakes and it cost them. Offensively, they were really good. They just couldn't finish. And that's something that you have to do against the big teams. You have to be able to take your chances when you get them, especially when you have that many. You have to be able to finish as many chances as possible. Against a team like Chelsea, you do concede a lot of chances, but I think Tottenham, after that, they're going to learn from that. They're only going to improve. And against a team like Burnley, who are going to have just as many defensive problems, they are going to get goals. It's going to be a 3-0 win for Tottenham, and they're going to get themselves back and get back some momentum. They are playing at Wembley again, though. That is a problem, because at Wembley, I don't think they've ever won ever since last season Champions League, plus having their first game of the season at Wembley against Chelsea. They still haven't won a single game there, so that is a big problem for them. Is it a curse? Is it just a mental thing there? Because playing at White Hart Lane is a very different thing than playing at Wembley. Is that going to be a problem for them? I guess we'll find out, because if they do lose to Burnley or not get a win against Burnley at Wembley, that's going to be shocking. That's really going to be shocking. It's going to really be telling what the fuck goes on at Tottenham this season. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button and please subscribe to the channel and please share with anybody. That's very, very helpful for me, helping me grow this viewership. I'm very thankful to anybody who does that. And before I let you guys go, I want to give a shout out to my dad and my girlfriend for really being supportive from the very beginning and really helping me out with this whole process of developing a YouTube channel. You know, it is an investment, and I don't monetize my videos because I have such a small viewership, so I don't make any money out of this. I produce this stuff. It really takes a lot of hours of each of my days to really put this stuff up, and to have such a small viewership and not make a lot of money, it's hard for me to continue to invest. I've already invested well over 500 bucks into this between a good computer, a decent computer, a microphone, the equipment to be able to stream video games and stuff like that. It really is an investment. I've invested a lot, so to have those two that helped me out with the investments. My dad bought me a really good light, what was it, like 6 months ago or something like that, maybe more. My girlfriend also recently bought me another set, which is completely different, another set of lighting equipment, which I can actually use both of them to really make good lighting. So it's really, really helpful, and I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for really believing me and believing in me and supporting me from the very beginning. So thank you so much, guys, and it is really invaluable. I have a great dad, I have a great girlfriend, and I really could not ask for more. So thank you so much. I hope that that my videos will continue to develop, and that your faith in me and your investments will turn out to not be in vain. So thank you so much once again, guys. Thank you also to you viewers for sticking around. I love you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video.